Okay, guys, so we're going to go over the 415 final project. You can see here I have the rubric pulled up. This list here of possible topics is the same one that appears on your Moodle homepage. You should have already gone into the forum attached to this and selected your injury. If you haven't, please do that now. As you can see, it's first come, first serve. If you want one of these and it's not available, I'm sorry, you just have to pick another one. There's a lot of projects to read, and I'd rather not read repeat projects if it can be avoided. So you will create a SOAP note. Don't worry, we are going to go over what SOAP notes are during the class. Here you can see it's about an injury you've chosen. Be sure to use proper medical terminology throughout the document. Should not be more than 3 pages and 12-point font, single spaced. Use language that's concise but covers all the information needed, cutting out superfluous wording. In other words, you're not writing an essay or a story. You're writing a medical document. This shouldn't start with, little Johnny was walking down the street one day. It should be patient said, patient stated, patient reported, this was observed. Try to stay away from big storytelling. Point deductions. You can see there's deductions for improper medical terminology, not covering assigned topic, not including all of the required information, not properly formatting the document, and then a complete deduction of points by not turning it in by the due date. Here I've outlined what the subjective, what the objective, what the assessment, and what the plan should include. Now, if you've noticed, which hopefully you've already looked at the itinerary, there is a turn-in for all of your subjective, objective, assessment, and plan areas. And then there's a second final project turn-in. When you get to the final project turn-in, this is what you're going to add to the subjective, objective, assessment, and plan you've already written. These will be turned in one at a time. Each one has a smaller grade. You'll turn in the subjective. I'll look over it, corrective, and return it to you. Same thing with objective, assessment, and plan. By the time you get to the final project, all of these should be complete and correct, leaving you only these exercise phases left. Now notice in your book, page 11, there is a sample SOAP note. Most of or all of the injuries are in the book, but don't just limit yourself to using the book. Be creative, look up a little bit about each injury, and put yourself in the patient's shoes. For your subjective, you need to come up with a reasonable story, how, why this patient injured themselves. Objective, you should look up all of the things you would find that would be associated with a patient with this condition. Assessment, simply stating the injury, and plan, the one you're going to turn in as part of the plan is your problem list, limitations, exercise grid, short-term, long-term goals, and some appropriate functional testing. And then using this plan that you wrote up as part of the plan turn-in, you're going to do 4 phases of an exercise grid. The first one will be acute management. Second one, basic strength and proprioception. Third one, dynamic strength, endurance, and coordination. And phase 4 will be return to play. So each one of these I want to be at least 2 weeks long and show progression in the exercises. Also, each phase has to have at least 5 exercises, 5 unique exercises. You can't go from squats on the ground to squats on the ground with a weighted ball in 2 separate phases. That won't count here. 5 different exercises for each phase. Here's the sample soap note. I kind of have fun with it doing Anchorman thing, but this gives you the format it should be written in. This isn't exactly what you have to do. A lot of people work for PT clinics or have worked or have experienced injuries, and you may have seen another way to write soap notes. If you want to use that way, that's fine. I'm just looking for the correct information to be there. So again, don't worry about writing a paragraph. You can see mine is basically bullet pointed. There's a list of things going on. The medical abbreviations. This is far from a comprehensive list of medical abbreviations. This is just what I pulled up as the most common used in physical therapy or athletic training or OT or chiropractic. This is a good starting point. It's not inclusive, but it's a good starting point. Try to use these medical abbreviations. It'll make your soap note shorter. And it'll help you be concise without rambling. Now, this is the exercise grid I included in Moodle. This is not the only way I expect exercise grids to be presented. Again, I know people have various experiences, and they may be more comfortable with one they're used to using. This is just the example one. You can use it if you want. And what I'm expecting to see in this first one, let's say we have a knee patient and we want to do single leg raises. So let's pretend this patient's been here for a little while. I am going to have them do a 1 pound weight, cuff weight, to do their exercises. Here where it says date, I can change this to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or whatever combination of dates you would expect this patient to come in for. Monday, they do, let's say 3 sets of 10. Same thing Wednesday. Friday. And then we move into the next week. Well, they've shown Friday that 3 sets of 10 is not difficult for them. So here we need to progress. There's 2 things you can do to progress here. You can go up to 4 sets of 10, or you can stay at 3 sets and move it up to 15. Or you can keep it at that 3 sets of 10 and add a 2 pound cuff weight, showing that they've progressed in the weight they could do. Now, once you mark that you've progressed, you don't have to continue to mark 2 pounds. You can go past here and just continue. So let's say we have a shoulder injury and you have them doing an exercise called YTW. And you want them to use a band to do YTW. Well, the easiest band is yellow. And we want them to do it for 5 minutes. Now, they're going to continue again. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes across the board. Getting into week 2, they've shown some progress. Now, again, like the 3 sets go into 4 sets, are changing the number. You can do that with the time. You can move the time up to, let's say, 8 minutes or 10 minutes or whichever you think is appropriate. Or you could keep it at 5 minutes and move them up to the red TheraBand. And from this point on, you can write 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And it's shown that they've progressed in the exercise. So keep this in mind. What I am going to be looking for, 5 exercises per phase, as the phases were shown here in the project. And I'm going to be looking for each phase or each exercise to somehow progress within the phase. And the progressions are open. Again, you can increase time, you can increase sets, you can increase reps, or you can increase weight. When we go to proprioception, which is balance stuff, then you can look at increasing the difficulty of the surface they're standing on, closing their eyes, changing their center of gravity, having them play catch while they're balancing, going from 1 leg to 2 leg or tandem stance. Whichever one you want to use there is fine, just as long as it fits the exercise and it fits the person who was in. Again, all this is available on Moodle. So hopefully you guys won't have too many questions about it. But if you do, feel free to email me. Just let me know. I also don't mind if you write the subjective, objective, whatever, and you want me to look over it before you have to turn it in. I'm not going to do a full grade on it, but I don't mind looking at it and saying, hey, you need to look at changing this, or hey, it's good, or whatever. So just let me know if you guys need help.